two of my great friends from skydiving, Vic and Bex Bradley, join me on Air Sports News. A very good afternoon to the UK. Good morning here in Toronto.
Good afternoon to you.
It's good to see you both. I wanted to catch up with you about this this weekend. It looked amazing. It missed my I didn't kind of see it happening until it was just over. So tell me what was going on. Where were you? What was happening?
So this weekend we were in Tilstock, Skydive Tilstock, less formally known as Tilly, up in Shropshire in the UK. We hosted, or Tilstock hosted, the first women's Boogie in the UK. So there were about 30 of us all descended on Tilstock to do some skydiving in the very fresh weather, to do some forums, to discuss women being in skydiving, to talk about the challenges we might face in skydiving, or any issues that we could help each other with, but also to share knowledge and experience and help less experienced skydivers on in their skydiving career.
Fantastic. The weather looked great. It looked like blue skies, and that's where I did my first jump, actually. That's where I started.
Did you?
Oh, fabulous. Yeah. It's such a good little drop zone, Tilly. It's a real proper club still. You know how some DZs have become much more commercial and all that, but Tilly really retains its kind of club feel, and it's a real supporter of minority groups in the sport, not just women, but also they have their rainbow boogie, etc. in the summer, and they're great. They do a great job for us. And we on the weekend we even had our chief instructor, Sarah Jane Orton. She came in from Brid to be the chief instructor. We had Delphina, who's normally our pilot at Sibson. She came to fly for us. Yes. So it really was women instructors, pilot, chief instructor, coaches, everything. It was really, really lovely.
Absolutely amazing. I can't believe this is the first time it's happened. It feels like it should have happened a long time ago.
Indeed, just to provide a safe forum for women to talk about all the challenges that we face in skydiving, but also outside of skydiving as well. And it was deliberately done this week to coincide with International Women's Day tomorrow, which is the 8th of March. So it was done deliberately at this time of year, albeit that the weather potentially wouldn't have been that good, but we were super lucky. It was very chilly, but blue skies for 2 whole days in March, which is unheard of.
You did some jumps?
The weather gods were smiling on us. It was really we didn't even have to sacrifice anyone to the weather gods. They were just kind to us. But it was a really sort of lovely event, and we had lots of really good feedback from the ladies, and hopefully more of them now will feel more as a result of some of the lectures and things, more confident to go on and look for coach ratings and instructor ratings, because in the UK, and I think this is probably reflected across the world, the number of women in instructor, chief instructor, advanced instructor, instructor examiner is tiny percent of even a relatively small percent of women in the sport anyway. So we were really trying to help women see, I think there's a phrase, isn't there? If you can see it, you can be it. Yeah. And so we were thinking that might help keep ladies in the sport, but also really see that other women have achieved those levels, and give them encouragement and hope that they can also do that if that's something that they're keen to do.
Yeah, it's incredible. Even in this day and age, I was interviewing a pilot from American Airlines recently. She was saying there's only 6% of captains at the front of a female, which absolutely blew my mind. I thought it'd be like 50%. Can you tell me a little bit what kind of issues were coming up during the forum this weekend? What was being discussed?
Do you want to go, Vic?
Sorry?
I was just going to say,
sorry. You go.
No, I was going to say, did you want to answer it?
lots of different issues, really. And the discussions were wide ranging, from if people had experienced harassment in the sport, or if they had felt that they had experienced discrimination. There was recently been, by British Skydiving, a survey of candidates who'd been through instructor courses, feedback with regard to how they'd experienced or what their experiences were on those instructor courses. And it was pretty shocking that some of the feedback that women had experienced on those courses was not great, really.
Right.
And as you say, in this day and age, it's quite surprising that women still experience those situations, particularly in a small knit community like ours of skydiving. But it was from everything from being a bit nervous to ask questions, feel like they should know the answers to things, or there's an assumption that they should know the answer to some things. So yeah, loads and loads of different issues, even kit. So being advised on what kit to buy by men, where our body shapes are completely different to men, and generally speaking, kit is designed for men. But you know, without being too overt, the chest strap issue for women, which often women would not feel comfortable discussing with men.
Yes.
And it provided that really lovely forum where we could all ask questions of each other without feeling awkward or embarrassed.
Yeah. I mean, I've known you two for quite a while now. It's well over a decade, of course. It's probably getting on for 20 years. How long have you been jumping? When did you start?
I think we've been jumping 15 years now.
Yeah, right. Just about nearly 15 years, yeah.
15 years now. Started back at Western on the Green back in the day.
Yeah. So you've really come through. I mean, you've reached an incredible high standard, very professional. You know, I really admire you. I'm one of your biggest fans, what you've done with the sport, with coaching other people. Have you seen any changes over the last 15 years? Have you seen things improving or not?
Yeah, I think we have. Yeah, and it's I think it's a reflection perhaps of society more widely. There is more acceptance that, you know, women are as capable of these things as men are now, and it's also, you know, in my corporate world, and as you can tell, you can probably tell I'm in my corporate world right now in one of the phone booths at the side of the office. But yeah, there's more awareness, there's more allyship from guys, and you know, that's super important. And I've definitely seen that in skydiving as well. You know, back in the day when we started, it was, you know, pretty common for women to, you know, be referred to as, you know, oh, come on Doris, and all this kind of stuff, which, you know, doesn't really do any good for women's confidence or gravitas in the sport, actually. So there's much, of course you still see that sometimes, but it is getting better, and I'm really glad for that. And, you know, thanks to all the guys out there that are advocating for us, because we can't make these changes on our own. We need that allyship, we need the chaps to be on our side, and I think, you know, for the most part they are, which is really great. And I think if there's, you know, anything that the guys can do for us, it's to be our allies even when we're not around. You know, even if a woman isn't there and someone says something that's just not appropriate or offensive, or, you know, even threatening vaguely towards women, to call it out and stand by our side even if we're not there to hear it.
Yeah, I think with social media and with the Me Too movement, it's really opened a lot of people's eyes and made people reflect about behaviour. I've certainly looked at my behaviour over my life, and, you know, thought of areas where that might have been thought as a joke to me, but it might not come across as a joke. And I think it's really, like you say, being allies, being front of mind with how we interact with each other. And look at what we've got in skydiving. You know, some of the best skydivers we've got in the UK in four-way now, in canopy piloting of female. You had Maxine Tate there this weekend at Tilstock from the highlight team, and what they're doing for women's rights and bringing female conditions forward is brilliant.
It was amazing to have Maxine there as well, because in some respects, America is a little bit further ahead in terms of the allyship and the women's events and promotion of women in skydiving, with the highlight team, for example, as you say, and to have one of them with us that weekend was so empowering, and bringing some of the learnings from the States and what they've gone through and experienced over there, and we're going to try and replicate over here. And Maxine said a really good phrase, and she talked about it quite well, that as we're talking about allyship, she was saying that, you know, a fish in the ocean doesn't know they're in water. That's just the environment they're in. And that's sort of similar for men sometimes. They sometimes don't see, and women actually, sometimes we don't see what's going on in front of us because that's just the environment we're in. But slowly, if if we can have discussions and respectful conversation between everyone, it makes it better for the whole, rather than just, you know, promoting women or promoting men. It makes it better for everyone, a nicer environment. People feel more confident. And, you know, in skydiving, it's not one of those, or is one of those areas where we all need to feel confident all the time because of the nature of jumping out of a plane.
Yes.
Just, you wouldn't want to not ask a question because you'd be scared of, you know, a response. So all of this stuff just really helps skydiving as a whole, not just women in skydiving.
I always remember, I'll be brutally honest now, when I was learning my FS skills, there was an instructor that I still won't speak to. I was trying to learn what was called side-ins back then, 90-degree turns. And he said, "What's wrong with you? Girls can do this." And it's always stuck with me, that, you know, that kind of army mentality, misogynistic. If I see him now, I still won't speak to him.
There
that was 100 years ago.
100 years. Yeah, I mean, there is some of that, and it's you know, we as women also need to call that sort of thing out, but it's sometimes hard when you might be the only woman on the DZ, you know. I mean, I feel for me and Vic, in some respects, you know, we've been through the ladders, we've got to where we've got, you know, we've still got a long way to go, but we, you know, we're a little older, we feel a bit more confident to call those things out. But I always try to think of, you know, if our nieces wanted to learn to skydive, you know, they're in their early 20s, would I be happy with them being around that sort of behavior and commentary? Absolutely not. We need to be confident that every single person feels welcomed and confident in our sport, and until then, you know, we're just going to keep working on it.
Well, you're doing a brilliant job. You know, I'm a big supporter of you. I know you haven't got long, I know you're working, but just as a final note, what else have you got coming up this year that we can look forward to?
Go Vic.
So last weekend in March at Sibson, we're doing an event called Reunited with the Sky. It's 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. It's intended for qualified skydivers, but, you know, sort of lowish experience, 100 jumps, something like that. It's, if you're feeling a little bit nervous, it's been a while since you jumped, probably because this is the UK and we don't tend to do too much over the winter. We want to welcome you along. We're doing half a day flight 1 course in the morning on Saturday, led by Paul Dorwood, and then in the afternoon on Saturday and Sunday we'll be doing group jumps appropriate to your skill level, to just put everyone in a nice supportive environment to get back in the sky and get their confidence up ahead of the season really kicking off.
Fantastic.
And we've got the Sibson scrambles in May, which is always fun for inexperienced people that wouldn't normally walk onto a new DZ. So if people fancy that, that's fun, whatever their experience level. We've got the Rainbow Boogie at Tilly in July, I think June or July, which also is a brilliant one. It's basically just the most colourful, crazy celebration that I've ever seen on any DZ ever, in tiny little DZ in Shropshire. It's amazing. And then just a few other bits and bobs, and probably our next all girls chick jam abroad will be in September. We're just looking for a tunnel at the moment to take all the girls to. It will take us, yeah. It's always a bit carnagey, controlled carnage, we like to think of it as. But you know, some tunnels get a bit scared of seeing us rodeoing around and running up the walls and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on. But I would really appreciate the opportunity just to say to anyone that listens to this, you know, if they're in the UK and they want a bit of confidence building, or, you know, I'm particularly aiming it at women, but not just women, anyone feeling nervous, they want to get back in the sky, or they haven't been there for a while, or they've had a situation that knocked their confidence. If we can help, get in touch, because we're instructors and stuff now, but our biggest passion really is to see people progress and stay in the sport, women, men, you know, everyone. If we can help them, just you know, send them our way and we'll do what we can.
Fantastic. What a great catch up. I'll let you get back to work. Thank you for joining me. It's real pleasure to see you both again.
Thank you for having us.
Really good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.